Capturing the world. Hey, what's going on, guys? This is David Carmichael II, and I am back with another great episode of the Caption the World podcast. I have another great special guest, man. His name is Zach Hines. He has a band by the name of Fortresses. I'm gonna go ahead and read his little bio right here real quick so y'all can know who I'm talking about. Y'all probably already know who I'm talking about, but for those that don't know, I'm gonna say his little bio for y'all, man. So Fortresses, a live instrumental band directed by Zachary Hines II, focusing on playing original jazz, funk, soul, Afro-beats, and hip-hop compositions. The group collaborations with many artists and local organizations, including SeedDaHope Productions, Downtown Hampton Development Authority, Beauty for Ashes Contemporary School of Dance, Big Brothers, Big Sisters Urban League, City of Newport News, City of Norfolk, and many more. Fortresses provides a fresh perspective to a legendary music form. My bad. So yeah, man, Zach, man, how you doing today, bro? I'm just so glad to have you on the podcast, bro.
Yeah, man, it's an honor and pleasure to be here, man. Always good to connect with you and capture the world. You know, honestly, I'm looking forward to the festival coming next month, the Capture the World Festival. And I'm happy that I'm able to be here with you to help not only, have a good dialogue, but also share more with people what we're working on here in our community.
No doubt, man, for sure. So, this is actually your second time performing at the festival.
Mm-hmm.
We got a lot of good things in store this time around. So yeah, man. So I also want to say, we also went to the same high school.
Mm-hmm.
We went to Heritage.
Yeah.
I don't know. We had to have crossed paths. Cause what year did you graduate?
I came out of Heritage High School in 2006.
2006. So I came out 2009. So
it might have been a year there, a year or two, yeah.
Year or two that we probably crossed paths. So yeah, bro. So how was Heritage for you, man? Like, what things were you involved in, when you were in high school?
When I was in high school.
And come up to the mic a little bit for me, man.
My bad, brother.
You good.
When I was in high school, I was in the marching band. I was in the theater program. I was a peer mediator, peer counselor. I was involved in anything, and everything I could, for real. I tried to stay involved. A lot of community service and things like that. I was a tutor, yeah, man, I did a lot of stuff in high school, man. I kind of just stayed busy.
No doubt. So your sister Imani, y'all the same class? She older than you? Or?
No, I'm 2 years older than her.
Okay, cool.
She came in 08.
Oh, yeah, okay, that's right. Okay, no doubt, man. So we have a lot of things in common, actually. We went to Heritage. We both the second, right? We got businesses.
Yeah.
So we kind of already locked in already. You know what I'm saying? So, but I can say, I met you last year at Charm Lounge, and I got a chance to see, your band perform, and I was very inclined and very just appreciative of seeing that, and I definitely appreciate you coming out last year, and like I said, definitely excited for you to come out this year, and I definitely appreciate you mentioning your artists that perform with you, such as Khalif Bryant, West Ave, and Jay Free. So yeah, man. So let's get into that. So well, before we talk about your band, let's talk about how you actually got into music. I know you say you was in the band, but what made you want to get into the band and kind of build on that?
Well, I believe that we're blessed with the ability to make music, all of us in the world, and I took my talents. Were there for me in times where things didn't make sense. I was able to hear myself think with music. It was a way for me to express how I was feeling and what I had to say, where there were no words. And it allowed me the opportunity to take the words that I have and magnify them in a manner that they can truly be felt and understood by people beyond my own language. I'd like to believe that music truly is the language of mankind, that it crosses all borders of ethnicity.
Okay, okay. I mean, you really like described that really well, man. Like, I feel like music definitely does bring people together. Um, especially different types of music. I think some people might have like favorite genres of music, and they might dismiss other ones because they might think it's they just don't like it, or they just some people might think like hip hop is not real music. Like I've heard, if I watched documentaries about hip hop and people that didn't understand it didn't think it was real music, but those people are actually telling stories, coming from where they come from. I just think like overall, you can't really dismiss any genre. I think every genre has a story to tell. Everybody has a different background. So, I think, by understanding different backgrounds can help you understand different genres of music. You know what I'm saying? But overall, I definitely can agree with you on that. So let's talk about all right, as far as the band. So how did you? I guess the first time you had the band, like, were the members that you started with still with you, or you started with some people that you kind of added on along the way? Like, how did that go for you?
So I think Fortress is kind of starting like 2013, 2014.
Okay,
And um
because I want before you answer, I'm sorry. I want to say that were your intentions were to start music on your own, or you always had an idea about having a band?
well, I'm musical.
Okay,
Musical's destiny is harmony. So me being musical, it was only a matter of time before my music would be shared,
right.
because that's what music is. With the advent of modern technology and communication, it became even more easier to share music, and thereby making me even more responsible to get along with the process of sharing it. So, my peers could also being musical people, as we're together, as we come together to spend time together, there's a greater mission to bring music to the people who don't have the time nor present ability to express themselves enough to uplift the lives and hearts of the people around them. It's but a blessing even beyond that, that there's other independent businesses and organizations, private and public, that have a need for this same blessing and also do not have the time nor energy to bring forth such a thing. So in this time, it's we want to become more aware of how we are properly allocating our resources so that these types of blessings that people seek in their day-to-day lives can be brought to fore. Um, Things are changing so fast, and people change every year. Every season, the members of Fortresses are different, not because it's a cohesion issue, more over the fact that it's not everyone's life decision to be a musician,
Mm-hmm.
and have a musical life.
Right.
Although I will say that one consistent member of the ensemble is Lauren Sawyer. He's my god brother, man. I grew up with him, and when we were young, we met because our parents worked together in the school system, and we were close friends and grew up. So we met. We were children, and we was like we realized we were both musical people,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, all right, man, one day I'm gonna have to have a band or something, and when I do that, I'm gonna call you. And he said, okay. And that was that. We was kids, whatever. Things are simple when you're young.
Right.
So when I graduated from college, and it came time for me to have a band because there was a need for me to have one, I called him. And I was like, hey, yo, bro, band time. And he was like, okay. And that's pretty much how it is when, I don't know, when you live life authentically, you tap into your gifts and you live with them up front. Like a lot of people have hidden talents that become an obstacle to their day to day existence because they're not taking time to express their creative selves naturally through their lives. The same way there are many people in your day to day existence that even may have 9 to 5s or work in education that continuously find ways to embrace their creative ability. So when you know those people are, and you have them and you love them and you care about them, they're in your life. When it's time to be creative and there's a need for creativity, you just say, hey, let's do this. And a creative person generally is like, oh, with it, because it's time to be creative.
Right.
There was a need in our community for music. There was a need in many of our communities for music and live music. as technology began to continue to advance, it got to a place where people were complacent with what was being fed to them through their headphones, being fed to them through the algorithm, and it stopped being about live occurrences and natural appearances in life on Earth. So it seemed like an excellent opportunity to super focus on that and hyper focus on creating music in the present that is emblematic of these changing times. Because since we've been growing up, the world's been really changing in humanity at a very accelerated rate. So much so, in fact, that we have to remember that it's only been, what, 30 or some odd years. You know, we've been alive at, so many things have changed so fast. You want to kind of keep us grounded and not playing music together naturally, make it a practice of coming together and creating together and creating original music based on the people that come and go as life goes on, because a lot of artists come into Fortresses when they have their first time experiencing performing live or with an ensemble, and they gather a lot of key experiences and bring a lot of their talents to the dialogue that strengthen it and make it unique as to what it is. And then they go on to pursue their own successes and their things. And so it's just like, it's a byproduct of consistency by myself making the decision to continuously practice at least once a week for the past, what, I think 11, 12 years now. And making it open for anyone to join me in my practice and match me in my consistency. Something like Fortresses does exist. If one day you decided that all your friends and people that are close to you, if they wanted to stay in your life and hang around you, they'd have to raise their consistency level and seriousness and dedication to their vision. And you stuck with that. What would happen? What would happen if you made a decision in the faces of everyone you knew? And it's like, that's what happened. Okay. And I didn't call it Fortresses up front. That was just a decision. Yeah. But then I got that check, and the bank said, you need a business. Yeah. And I was reading Plato at the time, The Republic. Okay. And it talks about how the guardians of our society should build the foundations of their fortresses with music. So I was like, Fortresses.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. So I mean, I hope I answered the question, but also gave some insight as to.
Nah, that was perfect, bro. Like, and now one thing I want to key on when you mentioned about how technology is accelerating at a high rate of speed. That's true, because we're in our 30s, and I think our generation was probably, or it still is, one of the most unique, because I feel like we've seen the beginning of like the internet, from the dial up, dial up internet, and the video games, and how our childhood was that, like the Nintendos, the original PlayStation, and having to make sure our mom went on the phone, and we had to use internet. You know what I'm saying? So we seen the beginning of that, right? And then it developed into MySpace, and then Twitter, and then Instagram, Facebook. Now we got TikTok, and at our age, we're using that still for our businesses and for us to connect. You know what I'm saying? It's just crazy how we've kind of were born into that, and seeing how fast it accelerated, and we're still at an age to where we still know how to utilize it. We're not that old to where we don't understand it, because we grew up in it. So the more it changes, the more we know how to, what's the word I'm looking for, to adapt to it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So even this podcast, like me even being able to learn how to create a podcast, I just YouTube how to do a podcast, YouTube how to what's some good mics to start off with, what program do I need to record. Didn't take me long to learn. I feel like I'm a fast learner.
Yeah, you
see what I'm saying? So overall, just to add on to that part you said, man, technology is definitely a blessing, and it's better than ever these days. I feel like if you want to do something in life, you have no excuse at all. Like, you have a lot of resources to start out with, and I feel like everything is at your expense. You can really go out and get it if you want to get it. You know what I'm saying?
You can capture the world if you wanted to.
For sure, man. So yeah, bro. So I also read that All right, so the FPCAD, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's tell us a little bit about that and
Okay.
what it is, and why it's important.
So Fortress's full name is for Fortress's Progressive Community Artist Development.
Right.
And that is like the process of Fortress's existence. Like, so people on the surface, they see Fortress's the band, or they call it Fortress's Live. And that's like, the operating arm that people see at the shows. That's the final byproduct that people might get when they are like, oh man, Zach, come to our event, bring music, we need sound equipment, da 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 da. Well, those times the people need one thing, need other things. So they're gonna need their music, they need their performers, they need all that kind of stuff. And so, or whatever I come with live performance wise, we just call it Fortresses. That's fine, make a brand, let it stick, but the symbols, align themselves, alchemically be whatever, let God awaken them to the monolith of the concept, if you will. But the real mission is that creatives should have subsidy. Creatives, should have viability in business spaces. The value of creativity should be recognized, and budgets should be set aside consistently for entertainment and creative facets, not just in music, but writing, visual arts, dance, photography, all the forms of creativity that people are taking for granted by using technology, AI, and things like that. Because I don't really have a problem with that. I have a whole topic. But you have a lot of people who haven't taken the time to cultivate their skills and their craft. And you have a lot of people who want to strengthen their skills in the craft. But as time continues to go on, and we mentioned technology allows us to do a lot of creative things without the effort or ability, you take away the livelihoods of a lot of creative people and individuals who operate within the creative fields.
Mm-hmm.
But the deeper thing to me about creativity and people who work in creative fields often aren't just working in creative fields because it's a good, viable place of work and revenue, but it's because it's a thing that they found to keep them alive. So with that in mind, with something like that suffering, the hearts and spirits of our people suffer at the same time. So it hastens us to want to find solutions. But the challenge with finding solutions to a creative issue is a lot of people, when it comes to business, need to see it first.
Mm-hmm.
But if people aren't incentivized to come together to brainstorm and create something that can bring about the idea of prosperity or capitalist viability, if you will, you see,
Right.
or return on investment and all those kind of things, we have to find a way to have these dialogues with each other creatively to encourage each other to perfect our craft. We have to have the individuals who treat their art as a hobby, but they wish for it to be their career, learn the tools that it takes mentally to turn that hobby into a consistent working thing, because you can get the money, you can get the investors, you can get the opportunities all day. But if you're not in position to create consistently, that this is part of your lifestyle and you have an understanding of the work, not only that, but also knowing that you are surrounded by a community of creative people, could you do more? So many people are young and they have the dream of using their creativities and God-given gifts to create change in their lives. But throughout their growing up, they're often dissuaded from pursuing careers in that manner simply because of the fact that they can't find any examples or clear paths to the success of which they could imagine. But the more that we work creatively in this manner and show on the forefront that hard working consistently can make a difference in your destiny as a worker creatively in this community in particular, you'll have more people, in the fight, growing up with the motivation and the business savvy and the resources, technological resources to make these advancements and reconcile with their insecurities at an earlier age and be able to take more confidence in what they actually have to offer, long before the difficulties in life could take them away. So it's a progressive development because we meet every week, at least one time. Whoever's identifying as Fortresses at this time or whatever gig we're preparing for. We have different additional rehearsals. It used to be we used to practice every day in the Moulton Theater back 2014-15. We used to practice every single day at the Moulton.
Yeah.
But nowadays, we meet at least one time. But we're also gigging so much that rehearsal days and they're turning into show days.
Right.
but it's the progressive development, it's the community building aspect, you know. I can't say that I'm just yet blessed with the large facilities to house everyone's independent business and everyone can have their storefront and things like that, but I'm at least able to provide a space for creatives and collaborators alike, and those who are appreciators and elevators of the creative craft in the fields, to come together in a community manner on a natural state. Like, seems sometimes that creators and artists and things like that get together some places because they like to have to, but we want to come together because we want to, because we actually are friends and we work together in this co-working, co-collaborating, coexisting environment. And knowing that when people come to shows, they see the entertainment as one thing. They might not see every single individual artist, the individual thing. They see us as one nightlife entertainment gestalt idea. I mean, if we have acceptance of this and we work together as one thing, we give the audience exactly what they think they're seeing, and they'll be able to make a definitive statement about what they're seeing, guiding the results to, guiding the results quicker. So as we collate, we strengthen the narrative, and so that's what makes it, but it's continuous. It's a continuous thing, the continued practice of coming together, strengthening the practice of unification, especially after this COVID time, the pandemic situation,
Yeah, sure.
because we're having to intentionally come back together and make the choice to. So yeah, it's a continuously evolving thing, especially after 11, 12 years of being in business.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, you got to keep going. I mean, like, especially if you love what you do, and especially like how you said, I like how you said before the difficulties of life take them away. As far as, and I think what you meant by that is maybe somebody that's young that have a gift and they want to do something with it. I would think people like you and me and others that are actually doing something, um, to create some type of inspiration and somebody when we always look up to people. Like, I've looked up to different people, um to inspire me to do what I'm doing now, you know what I'm saying? And it's not even for me, it's even more than the clothing brand. It's about helping people. Like, I'm kind of at a point now, I just want to like connect with people and tap into everybody's creativity. I just love seeing that, like, even with all the artists and the vendors, just I love just seeing people doing something that they really want to do. And but to go back on what you said, I just think it's important to maybe be that example to maybe somebody looking up to us. It's because it's always somebody watching you. Even it might be people where they first started, they thinking nobody cares, nobody's watching, nobody's listening or whatever. But somebody's always watching, bro. Like, you just got to keep going. You never know who's watching. You never know who you're inspiring, and then by you just stopping, that's one less inspiration for somebody to do something. You just don't. You never know who you inspiring, man.
Man, you never know who's going to see or hear this podcast either.
For real, man.
And so this might be a time capsule. The things of which we have discussed in this time may be the panacea to a life crisis eons beyond our own time.
For real. Yeah, it's the internet. Like we said, like, back to technology again. Like, this podcast, God forbid I live a long life, but once I'm gone, this podcast is gonna always be available to listen. You know what I'm saying? That's the beauty of the internet. Whatever you put out there, if you meant to put it out there, it's gonna be up there forever. You can create something that will last forever. So some things that people might put on the internet they might regret, but you know what I'm saying. But overall, like, as far as like what we do in our creativity, like the podcast, your music, everybody else's music, you're putting stuff out there that is people. It's people that's not here anymore that we still listen to their songs. Like, you're making an impact. When you dead and gone, your music or clothes, movies, whatever you do, gonna last forever. So, and it's all about just creating. Just create, bro, because everybody has something that they can contribute to the world. You know what I'm saying? It's always gonna be something that somebody can pick up a book you wrote 20, 50 years ago. It's been stuff that we studied in school that people wrote hundreds of years ago. You just
Mm,
never know, like what impact you can make on somebody's life by just doing what you love. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Um,
our art outlives us. You know.
for real, for sure, bro. Um, but yeah, so I also wanted to ask you about something in the water. I know I asked Khalif Bryant when I did the podcast with him. How was his experience in performing out there? So how was it for you and the band, man, performing out? How many different events did y'all do that weekend?
We performed at the Seat at the Table event at the Mocha Museum
Okay.
on Thursday leading up to the event. And that was a really great event, very fancy. I'm glad that they had something indoors and was, pretty sophisticated.
Yeah.
We had a good show. We had a lot of different artists perform. It was great. Q5 was hosting that event. Let me see. Him, the poet, did some poetry. TC So Dope rap. Kello was there. He performed as well. He did a great job pulling together that event with the Urban League. Um, West Ave and Jay Free Khalif was there do their thing. We had Scoozy on saxophone as well as Mike GML. And we even had Codex Music, Xavier Hendon. We got our usual standbys. My man Shala was there, and Michael Corder was on the bass. Lawrence Sawyer, my man, was on the drums as usual. It was a we even had some special guest appearances that performed with us and sang with us as well. So it was a good thing. Like, I think it was a good event. They had speakers in the other room.
Okay.
And I think they had food too. I don't remember. But I know they had a little VIP table in the area, and that was nice too. A lot of people came out, and it was great. I heard they had helicopters flying overhead. They said they would make the news, which is nice. Good, good for people to see. My mom could see her boy doing something. The next day it rained. That was Friday.
Yeah,
So
right,
so
Friday.
so that happened. I took a mental health day at the hotel. The next day, Saturday, we performed with the artist Eris at the 24th Street stage. I think that was, if I'm not mistaken, I think that was Gabe Niles and Team Lamb put that together with the city of Virginia Beach. They did the stage 24th Street. We performed up there. That day was crazy. It was chaotic. The pictures looked nice. I'm sure the footage was nice too, but it was crazy out there.
That was outside.
Yeah, man.
That was a nice day. That was the best day that weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah.
My sister went too, and
Okay.
I think she liked it. She got a parachute. She said she had a good time. So even though on Sunday it rained out so much, they canceled everything. But in spite of all that, the overall consensus of everyone that I asked, they said that it was a great time regardless. And that's good. I hope that more developments come and that it continues to create a wave of inspiration and intrigue for the rest of the summer that continues on into the history of Virginia and how we do things culturally, especially on the coast out there, oceanfront.
No doubt, no doubt. And I can also say, I feel like something in the water got it right this time, as far as the so many things were being done to acknowledge all the local talent in the area. Um, it was definitely more of a community festival this time around. Um, like I said, giving like different stages, different artists opportunities to perform, even if they're not on the main stages at some in the water. You know what I'm saying? That was good to see. Like it was so much to do, man. Even if you didn't get a ticket, you can have a good time. And yeah, it just gave a spotlight to a lot of different artists in our area. And like I said, overall, man, it's just a good thing that he's actually for real is actually doing this, and I can just see it getting bigger and bigger and bigger every year. And I said the one weekend where it's just like perfect weather, that's gonna be like crazy, like sunny every day. We can just get a weekend like that, it's gonna be amazing. Um, but for sure. So my other question is too, man. Before we wrap it up, um, one piece of advice to someone wanting to pursue something in life. I know we kind of already touched on that, but if you can just give somebody like this one piece of advice, what would you tell them? Like, how to get started? What would you say?
If you want to change your life, for sure, do something every day. Create a positive habit for yourself. Create a new positive habit for yourself every month. Set a short slash long term goal that you accomplish every year that's built out of all of the smaller accomplishments that you did that year. Create goals and set expectations for yourself. And also pray and meditate and take the time out to forgive yourself when you don't really meet those goals, because it's not good in the beginning. But as you set those goals consistently, you'll get to a point where you've mastered not only the thing that you set out to do, but you mastered setting goals. And now you're part of the solution as someone bears witness to you in your natural state. They see you consistently accomplishing things, and it's a light in the darkness for those who are lost. Just be consistent.
Yes, sir. Consistency is key, for sure. Like, you just got to keep going. Like I said, like we already been talking about. Um, doing something every day is definitely good advice. Even I just think like even if it's not even related to maybe what you want to do at the moment, just something
Mm-hmm.
like a good habit, like like if you just doing exercise every day, something that can get you motivated to get there. You know what I'm saying? Don't create bad habits that can make you go backwards. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
do stuff that can keep you positive, uplift your spirits. I would go as far as to say, eating right, exercising, just
Mm-hmm.
doing stuff that can boost your overall thinking and your happiness. Your mental health. That's important too,
That's
because
real
if
life.
your mental health is bad, you're not gonna want to do nothing.
And I think
you
that's
know
but I
what I'm
think
saying?
that's the reason why I feel like that's a good strategy for being consistent, because sometimes you be down. Sometimes you don't got time or you work too hard, you weren't able to do your thing. Or even if you're doing your thing, you're not feeling it. You're not feeling yourself, or so humping the month out of the year where you're just feeling really bad. It just something ain't right. Maybe you have suffered a loss, breakup, whatever. But you can look back over your life and think about how when you're so down on yourself, you can be encouraged because you have accomplished so much. You be like, dang, I haven't created anything today or last this week or whatever. But you can look over your shoulder at the mountains of things that you have manifested, and you could even lean back upon the wall of bricks you've laid one by one each day. So when you're ready to rest in the shade of your own tree, it's there for you. So while you are wondering what you should do something. So when you're lost inside and you can't, you can be comforted by when you were wandering.
Hey man, love it, man, love it. Um, so I got one more question to ask you before we wrap it up, man.
Yeah, man.
This is a question that I ask all my guests. So this relating to what you do in life right now. How do you plan to capture the world?
I plan to capture the world by being consistent.
Hey, we're gonna keep look for those that's listening. We're gonna keep saying that over and over until y'all get it, man. Consistency is key, bro.
Yeah,
It
man.
is definitely is key.
Just kind of being patient and consistent. I think everything is the way it is for a reason, and the people that it's for, this message is for, this episode is for, the show that we're doing coming up is for.
Yes, sir.
I think it's going to capture them just fine, and that's a world in itself. I'd like to consider the world already captured, but when the world comes around to check and see if I've still captured it, I want to be prepared to remind them. And that's what we practice.
For sure, bro. Um, yeah, man. Great episode, bro. Like I said before, man. I got my boy Zach Hines the second, man. He gonna be performing at the Capture the World Festival July 22nd at Mill Point Park, Hampton, Virginia. Do you want to tell our listeners, where they can find you on social media and where they can find your music, all that good stuff, whatever you want to tell to get everybody listening.
Yeah, man. First off, thank you very much for inviting me to be on the show. But yeah, you can find me at Z Hines 2 ZHINES 2 on social media. And you can find the band at Fortresses Live, FORTRESSESLIVE. And the website is www.fortresses.org. Yeah.
Okay. No doubt, man. So, like I said before, man, or like I want to say now, thank y'all. Thank you to all my Spotify listeners, Apple Podcast listeners, the YouTube listeners. Thank y'all for everybody that came to the festival last year. Definitely excited to see who's gonna come this year, who's gonna come that came last year, and then the new guest that's gonna see what's going on this year. Thank y'all for all the vendors that signed up so far, all the performers that locked in. Definitely excited for y'all to see what's gonna happen this year. And yeah, man. On that note, I'm David Carmichael II at the Capture the World podcast again. Got my boy Zach Hines again with Fortresses Live.
Peace.
And we're gonna see y'all in the next episode, man. Y'all have a good one. Peace.
Bye, y'all.